Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Jaya Om Vishnupada Hanuman Sarva Chakrani and Shishma Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki Jai. All glories to the Ascended Lord Jesus. All glories to the Ascended Lord Jesus. All glories to the Ascended Lord Jesus. All glories to Shri Guru and Anita Bhagavad Gita. So we're reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 56. Dukeshvanat vikramana Dukeshu datasviha vitaraka vayakrona Diktatir mariru chiter. It's okay?
Yeah, it's like
Facebook is on.
Okay.
It's on.
All right. Welcome, all Facebook viewers. Glad you're here. We're reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 56. One who is not disturbed in mind, even amidst the threefold miseries, or elated when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called a sage of steady mind. So I'm not going to read the whole purport, I'm just going to read part of it. He is called Prashanta Nishesha Manoratantara, one who has surpassed the stage of mental speculations and has come to the conclusion that Lord Krishna or Vasudeva is everything. So, Mukam karoti vachalam gangam mangate girim yakipantuham bande Sri Guru Vinatarinam Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananchana Shalakaya Chakshu Viditam Yena Tassamai Sri Guru Namaha. So, I'll read more purport, but I just want to say a few words about this part here. There's many principles in Bhagavad Gita. And if you follow these principles, then it will manifest in your behavior in certain ways. So if you actually believe firmly Krishna is everything, then what will be your behavior when distress comes, when the threefold miseries comes? How will you behave? So this Prabhupada explains in this program. If you actually believe Krishna is everything, and Krishna is everywhere, this is how you'll behave. Now we can find out. Well, how will we behave? Such a fully Krishna conscious person is not at all disturbed by the onslaughts of the threefold miseries. Why? Now here's the why. For he accepts all miseries as the mercy of the Lord. This is mercy. Hard to accept, but that's how he does. Thinking himself only worthy of more trouble due to his past misdeeds. So it's mercy. He thinks it's reduced. It's definitely reduced. He thinks he's more sinful. Should have got more trouble. And then now, and he sees his miseries by the grace of the Lord are minimized to the lowest. So whatever happens to a devotee is not what we deserve. It's much less than what we deserve. If it's a misery, then it's much, much less. Now, what happens when he's happy? When he's happy, he gives credit to the Lord, thinking himself unworthy of the happiness. Oh, that's hard. we all think, oh, yes, I deserve it. I worked hard. Okay. He realizes it is due only to the Lord's grace that he is in such a comfortable condition and able to render better service to the Lord. And for the service of the Lord, he's always daring and active and is not influenced by attachment or aversion. Right. So one who is not a devotee, when misery comes, the first thing he thinks is, why me? Why this is happening to me? I'm such a good person. I'm doing my japa. I'm doing my meditation. So why is this happening to me? Well, the devotee, he thinks, why not me? Sometimes His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj would ask a question that sometimes we see people suffering and we think, wow, I'm glad it's not me. Or I think, I've got some trouble and I look at other people, I think, well, it could be worse. It could be worse. So then he said, but the Vaishnava thinks, oh, he sees somebody's trouble and says, I wish I could have that trouble instead of that person. So that's a very high level of awareness. And we may not be on that level. But at least we can accept the miseries. We can accept, okay, see the hand of Krishna. What is the lesson to learn behind this? But it's very difficult because we have this knowledge, but it's hard to apply it. We know, this is the mercy of Krishna. But there's a gap between what we know and what we experience, how we apply it. There's sometimes a gap there. And Prabhupada's disciples were telling Mr. Prabhupada that, the body is affected by the emotive nature. We're experiencing desires. And Prabhupada said, you are not experiencing. Your body is experiencing. You're feeling cold due to the body, so it must have been winter. You're not feeling cold. And the devotee said, but I think I'm feeling cold. And so Prabhupada said, you are thinking. That is illusion. So the devotee said, so I should rise above that? Prabhupada said, yes, but not artificially. Not artificially. But this is a fact. You have to gradually rise to that platform where you're not affected by the miseries. So just like when you're feverish, actually you're healthy, but the fever has come. And you're thinking, oh, I'm feverish now. But this feverish condition will not stay. You'll come to the healthy stage. So don't be disturbed with the feverish condition. Go on with your duty. Don't misidentify, oh, I became feverish. Everything is finished. No. It is external, it has come, it will go. Matta sparshasta kunteya, shitosha, sukha dukkha. So just like the seasonal changes, hot has come now, hot will go. Cold will come, cold will go. So there's a feeling of pain and pleasure. And what do we do? What did Krishna say to do when it comes and goes? What's the instruction? First instruction of Krishna?
Just tolerate.
Tolerate, yes. We have to tolerate. And I'm more fortunate because I'm over 70 and I have less years to tolerate. But I have more to tolerate because old age has hit. It's the old age body. So one time Srila Prabhupada was very sick. For 3 days he had fever, he was tossing and turning, and he had pain in the stomach. And the devotee his servant asked Srila Prabhupada, so does a pure devotee suffer? And Prabhupada said, no, it was a lover's bite. So he's on the hand of Krishna in it. So we know that time of death is described, the non-devotee will feel like a rat in the mouth of the cat. How does the rat feel in the mouth of the cat? We have a cat at my son's house, and he catches rats, and he catches lizards, and he catches snakes too. There's a lot of snakes in Florida, and they don't feel good when the cat gets them. You feel really terrified. But how does the kitten feel in the mouth of the mother cat? Kitten feels very happy. So we're like the kitten. The devotees like the kitten in the mouth of mother cat. But did you know, sometimes it's not just time of death that we feel the teeth. It may be during our life also that the mother cat will snatch us and take us away from, we're going the wrong direction, and take us back to the home. So if we feel sometimes disease, that's the mouth, that's the teeth of the mother cat taking us in a different direction, that we might be going the wrong way. So yes, don't worry. Even when Krishna came, there were so many problems. And that's why Krishna came, because there were so many problems. The attitude of the devotees was to tolerate. Kunti saw it as mercy. Parikshit, when he got cursed, he said, very good, very good. And Vijaya, when he was kicked out of the palace, inside he was thanking Duryodhana. Yes, now I can, no more palace politics. I can go and travel to all the temples and be a devotee. And so, 3 types of disturbances: Adi Bauchik, Adi Jaivik, Adi Atmik. Now, Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 15th chapter, verse 24, Narada Muni is giving instructions to Maharaj Yudhisthira. So, one of the instructions was how to counteract the threefold miseries. So, Adi Bauchik means due to other living entities, we do get miseries. And how to counteract it is by good behavior and freedom from envy. Good behavior and freedom from envy. We can counteract troubles, miseries due to other living entities. Now, how to counteract Adi Daivik, or those due to the demigods or natural disasters? That is by meditation in trance. So how to counteract miseries due to the body and mind? Hatha yoga and pranayama. Isn't that interesting? Hatha yoga. So maybe you can help people by teaching them yoga as well. That will counteract their miseries of the body. And Hare Krishna's for the mind, because they're probably also mentally disturbed too. So I'm going to go into a little detail with these 3. The first one we're going to discuss is Adi Daivik, due to the demigods and nature, like earthquakes, floods, getting hit by lightning, and stuff like that. Or droughts. Now there's a drought, I believe, in Los Angeles. In California there's drought. Texas also. Not Texas, Arizona. Meditation in trance. Of course, we meditate on Krishna, we chant Hare Krishna. But there was an example of a Shiva devotee who counteracted the miseries, natural disaster. He in 2013, up in Kedarnath, there was a disaster, natural disaster. There was an avalanche, it's up in the Himalayas, avalanche, flood, And one stone came and rolled right behind the Shiva Kedarnath temple and protected it from the flood and the avalanche. And one sadhu stood in front of Lord Shiva in meditation, in trance, and he was completely unhurt. All the restaurants were gone, all the hotels were gone, but he was meditating, and he was unharmed. So then the roads were destroyed. You could not get out. So the government was sending helicopters. It was summertime. There were people up there, and they were evacuating everyone. And so it came time for this sadhu to go on the helicopter. They said, come in the helicopter. He said, no, I will walk. So, or not ordinary sadhu, probably had mystic powers. But yeah, he was meditation in trance, and he was saved. And they found out why did this happen? Why did this avalanche happen? Because the government decided to move Parvati's temple above Lord Shiva's temple. So Parvati came in a dream to the Pujaris the night before and said, tell them not to do it. And they did it, and then the avalanche came. So, yeah, gotta be careful around Parvati. She gets angry. So, so that's meditation and trance for the demigod, for the Adi Daivik, for the natural disasters. Adi Bhautik, good behavior and freedom from envy. Adi Bhautik means miseries due to other living beings. The other one was demigods. So the first thing we should see is we have three kinds of relationships with others. Some people are seniors, some people are equals, and some people are juniors. So how do we behave to those who are seniors? We serve them, and we give them attention, we give them worship. With our juniors, we're giving them charity. We're helping them through charitable gifts. There's a verse in 3rd Canto 29th chapter, through charitable gifts and attention. So that's attention means to the seniors, charitable gifts to the juniors, as well as through friendly behavior, so that's with the equals. And by viewing all to be alike, one should please me who abide in all creatures as their very self. So Lord Kapilade is speaking, the Supreme Lord is speaking. So sometimes there's problems in ISKCON, and when Prabhupada was here, one devotee wrote a letter to Prabhupada saying he's feeling that it is sometimes he feels like it's impersonal here. So what did Prabhupada write back? That we should not expect anywhere there is utopia. You know, utopia is like perfect heaven. Rather, that is impersonalism. People should not expect, even in the Krishna conscious society, there will be utopia. Because devotees are persons, therefore there will always be some lacking. But the difference is they're lacking because they've given up everything to serve Krishna. Their lackings have become transcendental. Because despite everything they may do, their topmost intention is to serve Krishna. So an example of this is in the 70s, early 70s, probably 1971, 72, there was a gentleman, Dr. Patel, in Juhu, Bombay. He used to go on morning walks with Srila Prabhupada. And he felt very compassionate because the devotees were living so austerely, just on the floor, on these mats. I was one of them, living on the floor on a mat for 18 years. And he donated, he went begging. This doctor went begging for mattresses, blankets, mosquito nets, pillows, and he gave them to the devotees. But after 2 years, they were all missing, gone, because they didn't have a house with a lock on it. They were living in a hut. There was no door. And everything was probably stolen. because there were for people. And so he complained to Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, these devotees do not care if they have to sleep on the floor. They do not care if they get disease or do not have proper facilities. That liberation which you so much desire, they already have. Because he really wanted, he was a kind of an impersonalist. He knew Bhagavad Gita, but he would get into impersonal philosophy. So Prabhupada said, that liberation you want to have. So Prabhupada was very kind to the devotees. We were doing a lot of austerities when we first came to India. So one time there was a morning walk in Vrindavan. Gurudas was on the walk, and Gurudas was telling Srila Prabhupada, it seems like cow dung is better than human stool. And Prabhupada said, so you have researched? Anyway, yeah, the devotees. So Adi Daivik, Adi Bautik, and then the third one is Adi Atmik. That is miseries due to our body and mind. Hatha yoga and pranayama, isn't that interesting? So many times we hear Prabhupada condemn hatha yoga, but not pranayama actually. In fact, in the third canto, Kapila yoga process is described. In the purport, Prabhupada says, as far as pranayama is concerned, chanting of the holy name and dancing in ecstasy are also considered pranayama. So how did they protect us from the miseries of the body and mind? There was one, His Holiness Indradyumna Maharaj was flying on an airplane in Africa. And the plane was trying to land, but every time they tried, there was a big turbulence and the plane was shivering and the pilot just went back up. So when that happened, Maharaj was going, Hare Krishna, and the Muslims were going, Allah, Allah, and the Christians were going, Jesus. And next to Maharaj there was one man. He said, Swamiji, I am a scientist. I do not believe in these things. The plane went down again, started shivering, shaking. Scientist was getting sick, and the plane went back up. And the scientist said, Swamiji, what is that you were saying? So then, Hare Krishna. No, whole thing, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So then, the pilot made an announcement, we're going to try one more time. If we don't succeed, we will go back to where we came from. So the plane went down, everybody was chanting on the plane. And the plane landed safely. So then Maharaj said to the scientist, oh, now do you believe? Scientist said, maybe. And so Maharaj said, here's my card in case you have any questions. So yeah, it does protect you from bodily miseries and mental also, because yes, that plane could have crashed, but Maharaj was chanting, so it was protected. Now I'll tell you another story too. I was at a Vaishnavi retreat in Nepal. 150 ladies were there. It was 7:30 at night, and they started a kirtan and dancing. And they were just so much in ecstasy. And one Gujarati lady came and said, it's time for prasadam. Let's eat. And nobody paid any attention to her. They were just singing and dancing and having a good time. So 8:30 came, she tried again. No, I'm hungry. No answer. Chanting, dancing, happy, forgot the body. 9:30 came. I said, sorry? No answer. Nobody paid attention. So then this lady decided, okay, you can't beat them, join them. And so she started chanting and dancing. And she forgot also. So yes, it is pranayam, chanting and dancing is pranayam, Prabhupada said. And it does counteract the miseries of the body. So, yes. Also, Gita confirms, let me read Bhagavad Gita a little bit. Chapter 6, verse 17. You can find it. Verse 17. There we go. He who is regulated in his habits of eating, sleeping, recreation, and work can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system. Eating, sleeping, working, and recreation. Those four. And if you wonder, what is the recreation of a yogi? Prabhupada said in the lecture, what is the recreation of a yogi? And that is walking. Because the yogis are always in their asanas. And they're always twisted around or something. So they need to walk. That's their recreation. They're all sitting, doing pranayama and asana. But actually, Prabhupada followed that. He did morning walk every day. Doctor told him. When he was sick in New York at the beginning, the doctor said the old man prays too much. So he said he needs to get up and exercise. So then Prabhupada took that advice seriously. And he started his morning walks every day. And we have all these wonderful conversations of Prabhupada on his morning walk. So yeah, recreation is also there. And causes of disease, 3 causes of disease: overeating, anxiety, and uncleanliness. 3 causes. So, the devotee, what is the attitude of the devotee? There's a verse, Tatenu Kampam Susimikshamanam. He hope against hope, I will get the mercy of the Lord. So he's waiting, he's looking for the mercy of the Lord. That's the first thing. And the second thing, Gunjana Ivatmakritam Pakam. He tolerates the different miseries that come to him. Prabhupada tolerated so much. Can you imagine going on a boat from India to here? And I don't think any of you went on the boat, did you? You all came on the plane. Prabhupada went on the boat. Not only a freighter, not a good boat, cruise, what is that, cruise boat, cruise ship? He didn't go on a cruise. He went on a freighter that carries all sorts of freight. 2 heart attacks on the way. I mean, that's enough. Well, I'm just make anybody quit, you know. 2 heart attacks. 1 heart attack's enough, but he had 2. And then for 1 year he lived very poorly in New York. I think without even a bathroom. He had to go down the street to use a bathroom. And so Prabhupada tolerated. He gives the example when you're riding on a train that, the trip is temporary, so, you just have to tolerate being on the train with the people who you're with. You may not want to be with these people, but you have to get to where you want to go. So we have to tolerate. Yeah, so hope against hope, tolerate, and the third one is serve with body, mind, and words. And that's Srila Prabhupada did. And if you do these 3 things, Jiveta Yomukti Pade Sadaya Bhak, you will go back to home, back to Godhead. So it's all worth it. All the austerities, all the pujas, all the getting up early in the morning, all the chanting of 16 rounds. It's worth it because you're going to go back to Krishna and live eternally. That's why we're doing everything. So we're preparing. We're preparing for our spiritual life. Just like you prepare to go to school and get a job. So we are preparing to get eternal life, full of bliss and knowledge. So Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur gives a very nice explanation of why we should tolerate, or why No, actually, why do good people suffer? Why do devotees suffer? Actually, he gives a commentary on that verse that I just quoted. Why do the devotees suffer? And he says, it is at night that the sunrise becomes attractive. During hot summer, cold water gives comfort. During cold winter months, warm water is pleasing. Lamplight appears attractive in darkness, not in the glaring light of the day. When one is distressed by hunger, food tastes especially good. So, in other words, to strengthen the devotee's mood of dependence on him and longing for him, the Lord arranges for his devotees to go through some suffering. When he appears to deliver them, their gratitude and transcendental pleasure are boundless. So one time when devotee asked Prabhupada, I'm confused, because you, in your books, your lectures, you say, when you become a devotee, you're on the transcendental platform. At the same time, you talk about being affected by the modes of material nature. I'm a devotee and I've been practicing for some time, and I experience some transcendental pleasure. At the same time, I feel affected by the modes of material nature. Some of you feel that too? Sometimes you get affected. Somehow, ignorance and passion, they come up. So how is it I can be on the transcendental platform and still be affected by the modes of nature? Prabhupada gave an explanation. It is just like being on a boat. When you're on the boat, no one can say you're not on the boat. You're on the boat. But sometimes big waves will come and rock the boat. So your position on the boat may not be steady. Those waves are the modes of material nature. So just remember, you're on the boat and the waves are coming. So how will you become steady? For that, you have to learn from the captain of the boat how to steer the boat. In the boat of transcendence, that's what you're on. Boat of transcendence through the ocean of material life. So we have to learn that, how to get through these things. And I have a little something I'd like to share with you from His Holiness Sachinanda Swami. What to do when you have when a problem comes. This is how you should think, how you should pray. I cannot solve this alone. It is beyond my capabilities, intelligence, plans, ideas, etc. I sincerely request you to accept me as your surrendered soul and protect and maintain me. So, protect me means keep me in a situation where I can function and the problems of material existence don't upset my life that much. So that's protect. We have to be able to function and we're not so disturbed at the same time. That's protection that he's asking for. We need that. Not to be disturbed. Maintain me means maintain me on the spiritual platform. And if you do this, a very interesting thing happens. Maharaj says, the problem which looks so big, look like now my life is finished, will start to shrink until it is the size hoofprint of a calf and you can easily step over. So we should take these instructions of Narada Muni to heart, counteract the threefold miseries. Meditation and trance means our chanting should become so fixed that we will not be disturbed when there is natural disasters. And natural disasters are happening now. This COVID thing came, and so now they say there's a new one, monkeypox. I don't know what that is yet, but yes, whatever. And natural disasters and other living entities. So that's body-bhautik, good behavior and freedom from envy. And then body and mind problems, hatha yoga and pranayama, regulate eating, sleeping, work, and recreation. and that will counteract your misery there. So I'll stop here. If you have any questions, comments, you can ask at this point. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much Mataji for the beautiful and wonderful class. Mataji, my question is like the kind of dedication that during the class you explained that you are living.
Oh, do you have a microphone? No.
That
Yeah.
the battery is that maybe louder.
Mataji,
Okay, I'll repeat it.
Yes.
I'll repeat it.
Because you devotees showed extreme level of dedication to Krishna, leaving all the comforts, and at one level we are all inspired and aspire that to get that kind of dedication.
Okay, you said that Prabhupada's disciples left everything and
Yeah. Yes. So
and you aspire for that.
yeah, that level of dedication or
That
sincerity.
level of dedication.
Yeah. So, because aspiration is one thing, but practically when we see one day improper sleep alone can disturb the whole day for us. But what is that one, one thing or the few things that stuck to the devotees to leave everything?
Why did the devotees leave everything?
Leave everything and they could dedicate. I'm not saying why they did it. What is that stuck to them?
Yeah.
So that they could maintain.
Yeah, why is it that devotees... Actually, when I was in New Vrindavan, I asked that question. I asked to everyone, not just the Prabhupada disciples. And why did you come here? What are you doing here? Why? So we got different answers. Some were attracted by many were attracted by the books. One devotee said he was looking for knowledge, and then he just saw the Srimad Bhagavatam, and that was it. Love at first sight. And some were attracted by kirtan. One devotee said, because I asked two questions, why are you here? I was attracted by kirtan. Why do you stay here? Kirtan. Well, so he said both. He used to be in a shelter band, a band called Shelter. So now he's in New Vrindavan. And why did the Prabhupada, and he's wearing a dhoti, kurta. So why? Many things, different things attracted different people. Some came for kirtan. I think I was attracted by everything. The kirtan, the books, the devotees, the prasad. Prasad is also a big one too. I came for prasadam. And that's what made us do that. For me it was kirtan that made me take the next step. Because I was coming to the temple every week for feast. And then one weekend Prabhupada said he was going to come. He didn't come. Well, he sent 4 sannyasis, and one of them was Vishnujan Maharaj. So we were on the streets the whole weekend with Vishnujan Maharaj. And that was it. After that, I didn't go back home. That was what actually made me take the big step of leaving everything. I said goodbye to my husband and I joined, and then my husband joined 2 months later. So, because of different, I would say, but Prabhupada was also very attractive too. He was very attractive. And we can see here's someone who won't cheat us. We're being cheated in this world by everybody. And that's why the youth, we were rebelling, and we're searching for an alternative life. And just searching, and in Krishna consciousness we did find that alternative way of living. And it was a 24-hour thing, it's not like we were engaged 24 hours. So very difficult to go back. Because what did we have in the material world? We didn't have any. Well, some of us had something. I didn't really have anything. much materially. But yes, so that is why we left. But we can ask the same question to people nowadays. Why did you get initiated? Why did you come over here and spend your time here? What is it that brings you? A lot of devotees said also the association of devotees. That's why they came and why they stay. And so yes, it's a question you can ask yourself. Why did you come here? Why is it that you came here? Why not go to the movies? Because you might get COVID. But yeah. Okay. Any other questions?
On the similar questions, like when somebody is desiring to like leave everything, but it is not looked positively even by other devotees or even by families or.
Right. Well, the time has to be right. In fact, tomorrow's class is going to be about time if you come. There's a time for leaving everything. There's a time for staying with family. You don't do things artificially or prematurely. And you do consult. You don't just walk out the door. You consult with Guru, devotees, sadhus, and Shastra. Shastra says, there's a certain age where you become more renounced. Your children are grown up. They're taking care of everything, and you and your wife can go and preach. There are examples in our society of Sankarshan Das, his wife, they go traveling and preaching. There are some examples. So there's a time for it. Don't worry. Time will come. And there's a time when you can take sannyas too. But it could be you're not ready yet. And that's why people are advising you not to. Because spiritual life, it's not that you have to leave home. You don't have to. You can practice at home. You can be pure. You can make advancement even at home. It's a matter of consciousness.
It's mainly the consciousness, but it's like multitasking. A lot of people do multitasking. They can do 6 jobs at a time.
Mm-hmm.
But like every personality is different, right? Some people don't do that. Some people
So for you to
one thing at one time.
So you're thinking you can it's either spiritual life or material life. You can't do both together.
That's what everybody's doing now.
But Prabhupada has taught us how to do both together. In India, I think a lot of people think you have to leave everything, and that's what it means, spiritual life. But it's not, and that's why when young people come to America and become devotees, then the parents are worried. Because they think, they're leaving everything now. What's going to happen to us? And what's going to happen to them? But that's not Krishna consciousness. It's such a nice movement that you can work at the same time practice devotional service at home. Make your home temple, have deities, have pictures, offer your food. It can be. You can do it. And that's what's recommended in this age by Lord Brahma himself. He said, stay in your position and just hear about Krishna. Yes?
Hey, Krishna was mindful of I can very late, so it's only one question which I have and some people from devotees, new devotees also. Krishna consciousness, how do you know how much endeavor you have to put from your side versus how much you have to depend on the mercy of the Lord?
Okay, how do you know how much endeavor you have to put from your side and how much you have to depend on the mercy of the Lord.
And that's more from materialistic point of view, because
Yeah,
everyone
yeah.
has
Okay. There is a saying, I believe it's from Prabhupada, that you should pray as if everything depends on Krishna, but you should act as if everything depends on you.
that's where the problem comes when you put together, you're expecting something, I know.
You're expecting the result, and the result doesn't come.
And then how long you
Oh, I see.
meditate on that?
I see. What you're trying to say is that sometimes you're endeavoring, but the result doesn't come, and doesn't come, and doesn't come. So then what to do? Well, you shouldn't hit your head against a wall. You have to find another door that's open. You may be going in the wrong direction. And again, now it's very important when this happens to consult with Guru, devotees, and Shastra. Because we're not alone here. We're not alone. We've got help. We've got people who have the same experience and gone through it, so they can help you. They can help you, actually. But sometimes we're going the wrong direction, and then we have to change direction. And if you keep knocking your head against the wall and you don't get results, then that means it must be, you have to change your endeavor, do something else. Like suppose you get sick, then you cannot do so many things, so maybe you have to just change to hearing and chanting, reading. It's like that. You can't go running around. When old age hits you, it's like that. You know, because when we were young, we were running here and there and everywhere and doing so many things and no sleep, 4 hours sleep. But then, you know, you get to be 40, 50 years old. Can't do that anymore. So I understood that, I think, when I was 60, or maybe 50. And then I started writing, and I started doing more philosophical things, more verbal, intellectual, verbal things, instead of physical. So like when you get a little older, then you can't run anymore, and you can't do the things. Like I was just taught, one lady, one devotee in Vrindavan was telling me, she's a gardener, and she says, I'm still doing the gardening every morning, and I don't get time to chant, and my knees hurt so much. And I said, yeah, how old are you? 74. I said, yeah, I know. Well, it might be time to change your service. Because, yes, there comes like tomorrow's class will be about time. There's a time, different times, then how to behave in different times, and how time affects us. So, yes, you go for consultation. Any other questions? Okay, I'll go. Oops, one more.
So Mataji, you did mention the quality of tolerance.
Yeah.
Vishnu mentions that you have to tolerate.
Yeah.
And then you were also describing how you had the higher taste when you were with Srila Prabhupada. That's why it was relatively easier for you to leave.
It's never easy, but it just, we got that extra push. And Prabhupada said he was coming, and he didn't even come, but just because he said he was coming, it was enough for us to take that.
So there's devotional service where you get higher taste, and then there are these qualities that begin with tolerance, humility, and there just seems to be like an exhaustive list of qualities.
That's true.
So do we have to cultivate both at the same time?
That would be difficult. According to Bhagavad Gita, it lists all these. It lists a lot of qualities in the 13th chapter. And the purport, Prabhupada says, if you just do the devotional service, then the others will automatically come. If you perform devotional service, all these other qualities will come. But one quality it's good to cultivate is humility, at least and tolerance. These two, tolerant like a tree, and that's a good one because humility is so important. It's without humility you can't learn anything because you think you know it all. You can't really hear. You can't hear properly if you're not humble. And so it's good to cultivate that one, but at the same time, devotional service, according to Srila Prabhupada, is enough. And that will bring, especially chanting Hare Krishna. And association of devotees.
Any practical tips on how do we cultivate humility and tolerance?
How do we cultivate humility? Associate with devotees. You will have to be humble. Yeah. Well, you need to be introspective. How to develop humility. Because it's not the same for everyone. It's not just saying do this and you'll be humble. No, it's very individual. Very individual. Yes?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
I was just thinking about a few things. So, as a mother, sometimes I struggle with. There are times where I want to encourage my children. Most of the times, I want to encourage my children to, do some spiritual activities at home.
Uh-huh.
So, when I am trying hard for them to, when I'm calling them to do RP, or when I'm calling them to kirtan, they have their own mind. Right? So that is a time when they don't want to do it. Sometimes they are very compliant and they come along. Sometimes they don't. But there are times when I am in hurry and then they have their own mind and they are fixated with doing something. It could be while making the baby sleep. They want to take longer, and I feel that time I rush them. So I feel guilty after the fact, but I have the other things that are on my agenda to do. So I think my question to you is, I always struggle with trying to balance with what I should be doing ideally as a mother and what actually gets done.
So you struggle with what you should be doing ideally as a mother with what actually gets done.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a very difficult question. You as a devotee mother, we want to see our children happy in spiritual life. So one thing you should see is you have to try different methods, and you see what method works the best. And if it results in the children not being happy in spiritual life, then you should leave that method. You should find a method that it's fun. It should be fun for them. Not that you have to do this, you have to do that. I mean, we want them to do this and that. And if we're an example, then they will want to follow us. But it's a very delicate balance. And the main thing is that you have to be happy in spiritual life. And they'll see how happy you are, and then they'll say, oh, my mommy's so happy. Let me come and be happy with my mommy. My mommy really likes to do this. Well, enthusiasm on your part. Enthusiasm. Rather than, no, now you have to do this. Yeah, and be creative. Be creative. I know there's one devotee named Vishambar, the son of Bhadra. He's Vishi, they call him Vishi, Mayapuris. And they asked him, why are you, so you're a Gurukuli and you didn't leave Krishna consciousness, how come you're still enthusiastic? And he said, because my mother made it fun for me. So that's what we have to do. And like my son went to the Gurukul and it wasn't fun, so now he doesn't want to do spiritual life. Or they like force you to do stuff.
Yeah, this is a very relevant question. Like when they are small, my kids now are bigger. So when they were young, they used to do all this. They used to like bathing the deities, like Shiva and others. But as they go to the high school and then they
when they go to high school, they lose it.
lose the taste, lose the.
But yeah, you have to let them go when they're 16, Prabhupada said. They have, now they're adults when they're 16, and they have to make their choice whether to join Krishna consciousness or not. And they won't forget, the first 5 years are the most important. If they can be Krishna conscious those first 5 years, then they will come back, they will remember that and come back. Yeah, you can't force them to do anything at this age in high school. And then they're having association outside, so it's very difficult. Yes?
That's the other question. So, because of all of these activities that you want to do, spiritual activities you want to do, I always feel that there is a sense of guilt that I'm not doing enough. And I don't think it's only me. Everybody says, oh, I wish I was doing more association. I wish I was doing more service. I wish I was doing more japa or going to the Rath Yatra in New York.
Okay, so you say there's a feeling of guilt.
Yes.
That you're not doing enough.
You're not doing enough, yes. And how to break out of the feeling of guilt?
Well, it may not be guilt. It may not be that you're feeling, oh, I'm not doing enough. It may be that you're just appreciating the other devotees and aspiring for doing more. You can see it in a positive way. Oh, that devotee is doing such nice service. That's how they do in the spiritual world. Oh, that devotee is doing such nice service. I wish I could do like that. So that's okay. It's not so much. It can be guilt, but it also cannot be guilt. It can be a positive feeling that yes, I want to do more for Krishna. That's good. That's good. That's a nice attitude. Oh, I wish I could do more. Even just by wishing you can do more, you will advance. Just if you desire to do devotional service. If you have desire, then that will bring you to Krishna. You desire to do something for Krishna. Even if you do it mentally, but you mentally offer food, but you don't mentally eat it. You want to eat, to cook for Krishna. Any other questions?
Like maybe your experience, you talk about the Giriraj, they are beautiful Giriraj. I think you might have told before. When did you start it like Giriraj?
When did I start Giriraj? 2008.
How did you get?
Yeah, I was taking a course in Vaishnava relationships in Mayapur. And the course was saying, it was kind of psychological course, and they were saying you have to see what your feeling is. So like if you're feeling happy or if you're feeling sad, then behind this feeling of sadness there is a need, something you need.
Yeah.
Like you need to be happy, you need to be, somebody has to help you, make you feel secure if you're feeling sad. So, I was feeling, I said, so okay, let's have, see, I was stuck in Mayapur. I canceled my preaching tour because I wasn't feeling well, I was feeling sick. And so then I had my deities were not with me, no deities. So then I was analyzing, okay, what am I feeling? I'm feeling lonely. So what do I need? I need Krishna. So next day, he came. How did he come? Interesting way. It was, I went to say goodbye to my friend from Los Angeles who was leaving Mayapur. And she said, oh, look what I got. I got this Girirush, and I don't think I can take care of him. He told me I should just offer a little water and tulsi, but I live in Los Angeles. I said, no, Los Angeles, you have to be more opulent. You can't just offer water and tulsi. So she said, I said, okay, give him to me. I'll take him back and put him on Govardhan when I go back. But then I got him in my hand. I said, wait a minute. This is the answer to my prayer. I need Krishna. And so that was how he came to me in Mayapur. Yeah, very mystical experience. So then I wasn't lonely anymore. It's really, really nice. Yes?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Mataji, can you tell maybe a couple of your experiences that that intensified your relationship with Srila Prabhupada?
Intensified my relationship with Srila Prabhupada? I'll just tell you one, and then we will go to the next part of the program. So, one little story. I was the pujari in Calcutta temple, and there are two altars, one Radha Govinda, Gaur Radha Govinda, and the other one was Jagannath. So every day, two big bumblebees will come to Radha Govinda's altar, circle around, and we had these big, huge lotus flowers, 144 every day, new ones. They would sit in the lotus. The lotus on Krishna's flute, bee would come, sit inside, every day. On Jagannath's side, small bees were coming, little bees, and sitting on the garlands of Jagannath. Just like in Vaikuntha description, bees are sitting on garlands. So then Prabhupada saw the bees. Prabhupada said, oh, if the bees are coming to the deities, that means Krishna is pleased with the worship. So that got me closer to Prabhupada. That got me closer. And I changed the flowers 5 times a day. And I had somebody donating for 50 garlands, 40 or 50 garlands every day. And so I would change, that's a lot of garlands. But I would use them all. Okay, I'll go to Shri Prabhupada. So now we're having Nishinga prayers. Into? Can I have some water?